Welcome back to the Film and TV channel, and today we've got a little movie review, and the film is called Belfast. Yes, going to look at Belfast today, not the city. Interesting. It's a place I've never been. I wouldn't mind going, to be honest with you. We'll see one day. So we're going to look at that today. Please, we monetize the channel now, so you can watch any of the ads or follow any of the links. That'd be great, helping the channel going forward. Obviously, help my other channel as well on football, my Manchester City channel. That'd be fantastic if you can do that for me. Of course, all notification buttons can be pressed if you want to know when these reviews and information vlogs are coming out. Thumbs up, guys, if you like what you see. Be very much appreciated. Yes, Belfast, a 12A certificate. Sort of probably about right for this. 98 minutes, a British coming-of-age comedy drama. Yeah, there was comedy in it. I was looking at that after I'd watched the film. I thought, of course there was comedy in it. It wasn't comedy laugh out loud as in played for comedy, but obviously just in people's personalities and people as they are. Film written and directed, of course, by Kenneth Branagh. And the film stars Katrina Balfe, Judi Dench, Jamie Dornan, Kieran Hines, Colin Morgan, and of course the young newcomer Jude Hill, who does an excellent job. Again, you can tell. Obviously, this probably wasn't shot in sequence. Sometimes, obviously, he matures in it, if you like, at certain parts. But you can tell, obviously, it might flip from the start of filming to the end of filming with his confidence. You can actually see that. But a great little effort from young Jude Hill. The film Branagh described as his most personal film centres on a young boy's childhood amidst the tumult of Belfast, Northern Ireland in the 60s. Is it any good? Well, Rotten Tomatoes, these are all the scores at the 23rd of January 2022. Give it a 7.8 out of 10, so that's not good. That's not bad, is it? Not good. That's not bad, is it, on Rotten Tomatoes? 7.8 out of 10. 232 fresh and 35 rotten. A lot of reviews in there, so quite positive. Simran Hans, he's rotten though. He's from The Observer here in the UK. He said, Kenneth Branagh's unabashedly feel-good memoir of growing up in Belfast as the Troubles erupted in the late 60s suffers from a problemless perspective. Yeah, interesting critique. I don't totally disagree. Kevin Harley is fresh. He's from Total Film. It is child's eye view, the wit, the generosity of spirit on show that elevate Branagh's Belfast. Yeah, it is a coming of age. Don't forget, guys, this is a coming of age. It's not a film about Belfast and the Troubles. It's a coming of age looked at from a viewpoint of a young lad, around about 10 years old, not sure of the age. The consensus of Rotten Tomatoes, a deeply personal project for writer-director Branagh. Belfast transcends its narrative deficits with powerful performances and directorial craft. There you go, so that's not too bad. And the audience liked it. The audience were quite impressed. 4.5 out of 5, 9 out of 10. That's okay. And the audience said Belfast is uplifting in spite of the story's tragic details. It is, because it doesn't get too bogged down in that. That's not what the film is about, as I've already mentioned. Although you might need to listen closely in order to understand some of the dialogue. Yeah, it was okay. I'm not too bad with Northern Irish accents, I thought. But as you say, it's you do have to concentrate a little bit more, perhaps, than some films, especially if you're not familiar with British accents, if you like. UK accents, are we allowed to say that? Northern Ireland is still UK. Metacritic, 76 out of 100. That's based on 52 scores, so that's okay. And it scores anywhere between 50 out of 100 and 100 out of 100. Slash Films Chris Evangelista gave it 65 and said it's a handsomely made film with a game cast. It certainly is, and it's clear that it's a very special project for Branagh, but the filmmaker is unable to convey to us, his audience, why it's so special. Again, I will go back to my thoughts on that, because I do have a sort of similarity to Branagh, obviously age-wise and obviously the time-wise. So I'll go into a bit more detail on that. As I say, it's perhaps more special to some people than others. Variety's Peter de Brugger, he gave it 80 out of 100, 80. The affectionate cine-memoir is rendered all the more effective on account of young discovery Jude Hill and its portrayal of a close-knit family. Right, Berners, my little views. Well, in a minute, because I'll give you the Internet Movie Database. What am I doing here? I'm all out of order. Internet Movie Database, 7.4 out of 10. That's good, isn't it? 7.4 out of 10. 13,910. I'm struggling this morning, guys. 13,910 scored it between 6 and 9. That's 90% of the scores, because I've ignored the 10s and the 1s, as they don't count. Only 1487 scored it between 2 and 5. So 90% positivity, we call it. And as I said, overall 7.4 out of 10. Now we get to my little thoughts on it. Yes, a brilliant cast. Okay, I'm sure there are problems with the accents. I'm not Northern Irish. I'm sure if we go over to Belfast, they'd be saying, well, no, his accent wasn't quite right. I don't get too het up or tied up in knots about things like that. It doesn't bother me. At least I'm sure they made the effort. They're actors. They did the best they can. But yeah, it is more a hope and glory style drama. So very watchable in the fact that even though it's a bit dark, I mean, the hope and glory is about the Second World War and the Blitz and bombing and stuff like that. But this is a bit darker because it's obviously sectarian violence, etc., set up the background to this, isn't it? But yeah, it is a bit. If you like hope and glory, I think you've got a chance with this, as I say, because it's not as dark as I thought it was going to be. It was very poignant. This is a bit I was saying earlier on. It's very poignant for me. Only the fact that I was about this lad's age in 1969. So a lot of it resonated with me and sort of sat with me from TV, although I got a bit frustrated when he got up while Star Trek was on, got up and went outside. I'd never done that when I was watching Star Trek. I was glued to that screen. So obviously the TV, they watched the toys. Of course, Christmas came, the toys, International Rescue, Thunderbirds. Yeah, I had all those. The cinema, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, singing along. Yep, I was there. I lived through all that. So it's very poignant for me. Of course, I lived a million miles away from the trouble that was going to erupt in Belfast, of course, in Manchester. Obviously, we never saw anything like that. But I did quite have quite an old head on my shoulders, even at 10, guys. I mean, I would be allowed to stay up and watch the news at 10 on ITV, which is at 10 o'clock, even on a school night. And obviously, I thoroughly, it was one of my favourite programmes for a long time, up there with Star Trek, etc. I just loved the news at 10. So I probably got to see these things. I probably got to learn a little bit about these things at a very early age as well, even though it didn't affect me directly to the same extent it would have affected Kenneth Branagh, etc. But it was a little bit familiar with me. I mean, you had the moon landing, stuff like this, all stuff that I can cope with. And love as well. Yeah, I had my first crushes probably at junior school at age 9, 10, 11. That's how it was. And obviously this young man has a bit of a crush himself. And so it all resonated with me. And I sort of like that style of it. But Branagh never let the film get too dark and political. And there are elements in it, a bit more, not a fairy tale, but a very, very watered down version, perhaps, of the real horror there. Because, as I said, it's very hard for a young man to digest this sort of thing going on all around him, and he's accepting or unaccepting of what's the difference between Catholics and Protestants and why is all this going on, etc., etc. So yeah, I can see that, and Branagh's done it purely as from his point of view, from a young man's point of view. Although there's obviously a couple of storylines based around the Troubles, of course there is. And again, there's a smattering of problems facing the adults that come into it, where obviously they're not looked at from the boys' point of view, but it always comes back to the main protagonist, and obviously violence was never far away, and it was more, obviously the violence shown in this felt a bit more choreographed, a bit more less random than it would have been, and horrific than it would have been. But the film just continually goes on to the next scene and pulls us back to happier family times. So the soundtrack is excellent, so it pulls you back to foot tapping. You go from one what could be quite horrific to a sort of foot tapping sequence, and that's what it did. This film, as I say, it didn't go too much. It wasn't Sunday Bloody Sunday or Some Mother's Son. It was not gritty like that. It was purely hope and glory style, looked at coming of age film from a young lad who most of it went over his head because he was only a very young boy. So some will say this is perhaps a sanitised version of critics. I've not seen too many critics of it like that, saying it rose-tinted spectacles of the Troubles. But it's not about the Troubles. It's not about the Troubles. It's about a young man, just obviously, and the family problems and the family sticking together, etc., etc. I think that's what Branagh wanted, and that's what Branagh got, and I think he succeeded in that. I liked it. It made me shake my head sometimes, obviously, at the horror of things, and obviously, it's still, even to this day, there's still problems. But it also made me smile. So I'm fairly sure that that was the ultimate aim of this film. At the end of it all, any coming of age film worth its salt will sort of make you shake your head and despair and smile as well. So that does the job for me. Very watchable for a coming of age drama. I'm not going to go mad with the score because, as I say, I think Branagh not played safe, but obviously, as I said, it was something I think he wanted to do for himself, and obviously, it's good. I'm going to give it a 6.5 out of 10, which is very watchable in my book. This film. Say, don't expect anything too gritty about the troubles. There are elements, of course, but as I said, it's a very watered down version based on Branagh's memories as such. And all credit to him, he's not gone over the top with it or changed things. I'm sure he could come up with a more powerful film about Belfast at the time, but this wasn't what this was about. So for me, 6.5 out of 10. A little bit down on some of the other scores, but very watchable, guys. Anyway, let me know what you think if you get to watch this. Thanks for watching. We're going to do the rest of the day. Have a great one. Look after yourselves, look after your friends, look after your families. More important, let's all look after each other. To be here again on the Film and TV channel. I only ask one thing, don't I? Please stay safe, everyone. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.